Hey, so for this series, we're going to go through all the HTML elements, A to Z. Even though there is not a Z element currently, there might be one in the future, so that could be exciting. So we're going to learn about where I get my resources and learning material and what to reference for, figuring out new and existing elements. So this will be fun. This will be something that we can learn this together, and there will be HTML elements that I'm aware of but have never used. There'll be some that I might have never heard of. So I just think it'll be interesting. I've noticed in the industry as of lately a lot of jobs and articles, and everyone's mentioning how important the HTML basics are. And I've even seen that throughout my career, that just some simple things that I've seen pro developers and people who have been developing for a long time just use outdated practices or do things maybe a little slightly incorrect or whatever it is, right? So there's always room for improvement. And I just think this is a great way and a simple thing that we can all learn and grow from. And I'm still learning myself. So I just thought this would be super cool, and I'm excited. So hopefully you are too. So let's jump into it. So our structure, we've just got a basic site set up here. When we get down to these elements, A to Z, then we will cover each of them. For now, there isn't much to the site. I want to keep it bare bones, very native. So when we're looking at the element, we can see what it will look like out of the box. On the body, I just got rid of the default font, so we don't have to look at something too terrible. And then I just have a row here, so that way it's not butted up against the edge of the browser. So that's about all I wanted to really do and add to this. So there's that. So let's jump into it. The site I had pulled up here, it's called HTML Reference. It's an amazing site, hands down. I wish I knew about this website when I started learning web development, and especially some of the elements as well. So great work. I honestly, I don't even know who built this site. I should probably know that, but sorry, I don't know that. But whoever did, awesome job. Seriously, I really like it. So good work. So we're going to start. As you can see, there's about 113 different elements as of right now. We'll go through them all. We'll start with the very first one being A, the link element. And so what we'll do as we're going through these, here's the link element. We'll talk about it. I don't know how deep we need to go into each of the different things with these elements, and including the attributes or styles or whatever. But if you have questions, or you want to cover maybe a particular topic about the element, hit me up in the comments, and I'll do my best to either make a new video or help you out, because that's the whole purpose of this. Okay, so to start, let me kind of cover this site and what it does. When we click on an element, it gives us a description, it gives us an example, and it gives us the attributes or properties or different things that are related to that element, and some pretty great examples. But it doesn't have everything. But what it does have is it does have another link to another great website, who pretty much, what I would consider, has pretty much everything. They're awesome. This is another great site, the Mozilla Developer Network. They have some very good examples, and they cover things like accessibility and some stuff that this doesn't cover. But for a quick reference about what the element is, what type is it? Is it inline? Is it a block element or something else? It'll cover what attributes are required. So as you remember in one of the last videos, if we didn't provide our href attribute, this link won't show up. Even if we had that on here, it still doesn't show up. We can look at it, it's 0 by 0. So we have to put something in the link in order for it to show up, okay? And the default styles on our link, as you can see here, anything that says user agent style sheet, that's what the browser comes with, its default styles. In fact, you can go here to computed, and see a little bit more. Sorry, a little bit more about it, like the color, for instance, that it uses. Cursor, we can see here that the font family is getting picked up by my style sheet. So that's the basics of the element that we're looking at as far as styles go. So we have our link. Well, what can go inside of our href? Because it said that this is required. We could put a hash there. All that simply does is if I was slightly scrolled down on the page, I don't know how I'm going to get this scroll bar to show up. Somehow we can get it. I don't know. But basically, if I scroll down on the page, it would jump up to the top of the page. Poor example there on my behalf, but maybe we can get a way to show you that. But essentially, if I was scrolled anywhere and I have a hash, it'll just jump up. It's just kind of like a placeholder link. Maybe as you're building something, you don't know where it's going to link to just yet. You could put that in there. That's totally fine. Where else can we link? If I wanted to link to this website, I could grab what's called, this is the absolute URL, and put that in there. And now it would link to that website. You might have seen how sometimes you click on a link and it opens in a new tab. That's where we would have what's called the target. And right here it explains how and what it does. So if we wanted it to open in a new window, we would say target blank. And now that would open in a new window. Pretty cool. Okay. What else can we do with links? Something that a lot of people, they just think as beginners, oh, it just links to a website. Well, we can actually do something called like mail to, and then give someone an email address, right? And what would this do? We can take this off for now. If I click on this, and it's going to mail to this person's email address that doesn't exist, it opens up my computer's default settings to send out an email. In this case, I don't have anything configured, but I could click on that. I could even provide my email address here, and then when someone clicks on it, it can go there. So that's a pretty cool feature. Another really cool feature, and I don't see a lot of developers use this, it's called the tell, and you can provide a phone number, right? And it's always best because you're linking to a phone number to put that in the link so someone can see, oh yeah, that's a phone number, and then they can click on that when they're on their phone and it'll call it. You can omit these or remove them if you'd like. I prefer to keep them in there so I can kind of visually see the numbers that match what's shown here. From what I can tell, I don't know that there's necessarily a wrong or right way with leaving them or removing them. So there's that. That's kind of a cool feature. What else is on here? The rel attribute. Again, I don't know how deep we want to go. This is more what I would consider maybe like an SEO thing. So we can kind of have SEO as a whole different topic. Let's go through here, see if there's anything in this resource. So it kind of shows a basic link. We covered the mail to, the tell. Okay, this section right below, this is kind of interesting. It actually tells you, can we leave off the end tag? No, both the starting and ending tag are mandatory. It tells you what parents this element can belong in. So that's nice to know that sometimes you can't just stick an element anywhere, right? Like we can't just have any tags up here in our head, right? Only certain tags are permitted as a children of this parent. So that's a good thing to look at when you're looking at where to maybe place your tags as a beginner. Sometimes that's kind of confusing. What else here? Kind of cover some more of these. The download attribute. Here's probably one. I can't recall ever using this. So that's interesting. Another thing too, sometimes you might see, like I've seen in older code, sometimes there's stuff like this, like char set, and it's set to some weird thing or just hanging out there. If you ever see something that, like an attribute, hey, I've never seen that before, Google it, look it up. You might come to this and find out, oh, this is obsolete, probably shouldn't use it, and it's actually probably good to remove that, right? So that's something to look out for. We never talked about anchor links. So what is an anchor link? Well, say we had another element here with an ID of link, okay? What we could do, and that's down there, but we're going to do something. Again, we said we shouldn't ever add a style, but for this purpose, we'll do that. Okay, so the element's clear down here, right? We've got a bunch of content on our site. We want this link to take us down to that section. Well, what we can do, much like our CSS, the hash is the ID. So this hash matches this. And if this name happens to be the same name as our ID value, then it'll link to it. So we can just say, link me or something. Okay, so now when we click on this, it'll take us down to that section on the page. And look up here in our URL, it actually has that hash there. So what's also cool is if we wanted to go to another page specifically to this section, maybe we had like an about us or a contact us, you could say, hey, take me to this page and to this section on the page. So that's what anchor linking is. I think that was kind of something I never really understood as I was beginning, kind of hard to wrap my head around. So if it's confusing for you, hit me up in the comments. Maybe I can help clarify it a little bit more. For the most part, it's fairly straightforward, though. What else is here? Anything else new or interesting? So you can see here they didn't have any of the dashes, but they did include the plus for the country code or whatever. Okay, so that's it. So what do you think? Is this kind of a cool series? I'm thinking it's going to be pretty fun, and we'll have some better examples as we get into some more interesting elements. So hope you liked it, and hit me up if you have any questions, or if you didn't like it, also let me know. I'd like to make it better. So all right, catch you in the next one.